Get ready to quit the build.
Here we go!
The QTB crew is rounding up all the gaming news and hot topics of the week with a little extra something. And here are your hosts, Bruno, Brad, and Nick.
Woo! What it do? I am Bruno, and you are listening to the QTB podcast. I'm here with the Brothers McMuffins. That's Nick. That's Brad. What it do?
I'm the Ham McMuffin, and Brad is the Canadian Ham McMuffin. Like, that's a thing, right?
What's the difference between
Isn't it
ham and Canadian bacon?
Oh no! And we at the pre-show we just went off on like chicken tenders versus nuggets. We can't get off.
Now we're
We can't
this
get
is
off
gonna
the
be a
meat-
whole
the meat
thing.
pre-show.
Can we just get a food sponsor already, please? Can we
Right.
get
Traeger,
someone that way?
Traeger.
That's what we're eating every episode.
Traeger.
Anyone? No, McDonald's, Wendy's, Taco
Wendy's.
Bell. Any one of you, we can eat them all. I mean,
Well,
Burger
yeah,
King,
that's
Carl's.
true.
I'm not gonna hate.
Mhm.
Like,
We
The
say
dream
McMuffin
would
be
on the
In-N-Out.
show. Yeah.
I could be eating a double while we're sitting here talking. I'll mute
Right.
myself and smack.
Or
I'm
we'll get
just
some
saying.
ASMR like during the podcast. People would go nuts for that. That's trendy.
Ooh,
Tip
with the secret sauce.
with the secret sauce. Oh no! Well, I'll tell you guys, the secret sauce here is the QTB Gaming News podcast. And a little bit later today, we're going to be talking about Halo Infinite not getting a split screen campaign co-op and just the sheer amount of broken promises and outrage. It's going to get a little heated in here, I'm not going to lie. And later we'll be talking about Cyberpunk 2077, the new expansion announced, Phantom Liberty, and some other news coming in the Cyberpunk space there from CD Projekt Red. But as always, we want to kick things off with a little bit of talking about what we've been up to this week. And I know Bruno, you have been diving head first into the Cowabunga collection. How is this working out for you, man?
Oh man, Nick, I gotta tell you, it is amazing. I have really enjoyed this game, and it is by far the best retro collection of games that I've ever played. And it's mainly because of the like additional features that they have in there. There are some animation smoothing checkboxes that you can go ahead and hit. You can rewind at any point in the game and kind of go back if you messed up. You can even watch gameplay, just watch it and watch a playthrough and then jump in at any time during that watch point and take over the playing, so you can
Wow.
essentially say, I want to, skip through to the middle of the game and jump in from there. Of course, the typical modern amenities of saving and that kind of thing are there, but with little things like an LCD filter or, a retro TV filter that you can throw on, and the ability to change the screen size from, regular to full to wide. It's these little like quality of life improvements that's what should be released when you do a retro collection of a game. It should kind of fix the mistakes that you were limited by the first run with technology, right? There shouldn't be any screen flickering, although if you want that, you can still have it, like it's there. But then to give people that option, and then like I said before, I was telling you guys, all the extra goodies that you get, the screenshots, the ads, the, little inside booklets and stuff that came with arcade machines or the actual games themselves. I mean, I pretty much had every TMNT game that was released. So this was a huge win and get, for me from the start of it, I was like, I'm all about this. And then, to go ahead and throw Game Boy games in there as well. This is really one of the first times that we've seen Game Boy games make their way into the modern next gen console. And I know that Nintendo's getting ready to do something like that, and I'm excited for it, but it's really neat to kind of play these, old Game Boy games on the big screen. Sans the Super Boy, the Super Nintendo Boy was
I remember the Superboy.
for the SNES, yeah.
Yeah.
But Brad, I know you're a TMNT fan. I don't think you've had a chance to pick this up yet. Is this something you're going to pick up, or what are you playing?
I've kind of taken a ode. I've been going through some stuff, and I found my old Super Nintendo. And what I found was
nice.
I actually found my Game Boy attachment, so I can play Game Boy games in my Super Nintendo. And so I don't know if you guys remember that. It's like a big, large, like rectangle, like cartridge that fits in the Game Boy cartridge, and I stick that in. And I found
Pretty
my
sure I
old
just mentioned that.
original.
That's your Superboy. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah, the
exactly
Superboy.
what I was
So-
mentioning. Yeah, the Superboy.
Wow.
That's what it's called. Yeah.
What a coincidence.
Wow.
And I was playing my original Kirby,
Yeah.
Kirby Game Boy game, Kirby Adventures. So
Okay.
I mean, we've been covering the Kirby saga, so I only felt it was right to dive back in and revisit the original Game Boy game and see what it's all and get prepared for what's to come. Because I think didn't that new Kirby game drop, Nick, recently?
Yeah, Kirby's
the racing
Dream
one?
Buffet is the new one that just came out, and
Ooh.
yeah, I mean it's decent. Like it's okay. Like the actual gameplay is fun. A big problem with that right now is the same thing you get with all the other Nintendo Switch games, which is that if the online if it relies on peer to peer, it's gonna be terrible. I mean, you get tons of just like moments where the game will just freeze up for a good second and then reconnects because everyone's going as fast as the slowest connection. And a big problem with the Switch is that there is no way to, without buying an external dongle, there's no way to hardwire your Switch in with an Ethernet cable. So you're relying on a pretty low-end Wi-Fi system that they have built in. You're almost always guaranteed to have a bad time. And I even, when I got Smash, I got that USB attachment so I could plug that in, plug the Ethernet cable in, and it does wire it. But even then, I would still play against people in Smash who weren't wired. So the weakest link is where everybody has to be, and the result, Kirby's Dream Buffet very much suffers from that same problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the bones of a good game, and I'm definitely gonna play it at some point when I stream. But that's going to be man, it's the Kirby Balls game. I want it to be legendary, right? But at the end of the day, it's a little flat.
I think that's part of the problem with a lot of Nintendo's offerings, right? I think Nintendo does a fantastic job of giving us great single player games, but I think for the most part, like the PvP games are lacking in some way, in regards to how it's played, whether it's the connection, the server issues, the fact that you can't team chat, that's been an issue, for as long as, Nintendo Online has been around. And obviously there's ways around that, and they've kind of added certain things here and there, but it's never the experience that you have on like Xbox Live or even PlayStation Network. And with things like Discord coming to PlayStation and Xbox, it's just going to open the gates even more to better communication. And I feel like that's the one thing that Nintendo is truly lacking. They've got the couch co-op down, but the online co-op and online PvP gameplay kind of lacks here and there. It's one of the reasons
I think
why
it's strategic.
I mean, possibly, unless you look at a game like Splatoon, which I was kind of, tentative about, picking up because I know that it's primarily a PvP game. And, I don't want to get smacked by, a 10-year-old. I've got Fortnite for that. So
anytime you want to get wrecked, that's right. It's always available.
Truer statements cannot be said. I mean, that is exactly right. But I do think it is somewhat strategic, Bruno. I think that you said they've got the couch co-op down. I think their demographic, their target audience, and what they believe to be their gaming experience doesn't always align with the PvP online environment. I don't think it's something that they're ferociously designing for. I think it's something that if they can capitalize here and there and it be something that's a niche offering within their portfolio, I don't see why they wouldn't do it, but I don't think it's their main focus. I mean, how many PvP games or like environments have we talked about that have been flops that we continually criticize and compare to Fortnite and to Epic, right? So why get muddied in a crowded environment? They're sticking to their bread and butter, and for the most part, it works, right? So I think it's strategic. I mean, yes, I can see your point, but I see value in them almost showing some restraint here and picking and choosing maybe a little bit more strictly about how they go about it.
It's Nintendo. I mean,
I don't know.
that's their whole thing. It's like they have their IPs, and if you don't like the way they make the games with their IPs, then you can go play them somewhere else. Oh wait, like it kind of is what it is for a lot of it. So, yeah, exactly. It's gonna be game over because man, they'll come after those fan games. Yeah, it's overall though, from what I've been playing this week, I've been hopping into Fortnite more, so I got a new gaming rig, that just came in. I've been playing some games on there. I got to stream a couple times here on YouTube, and that was a lot of fun.
When was the last time you on?
What's that?
When was the last time you were on Fortnite, Nick? That's been a minute, right?
It's been a hot minute. The last time I've been on PC Fortnite has been, I don't think ever. So it was definitely hard. I could have plugged in a controller, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go mouse and keyboard. I'm gonna get the experience. Everyone that watched that stream had to watch me remind myself of basic things like what's the emote button or how do I thank the bus driver.
Like, no, that was good. It looked good. I mean, you look like a pro mouse and keyboard player. Me, on the other hand, when I get on there, it does not look good. I just simply hook up a controller because I'm old school like that. But thank God for those types of things, right?
It's nice to be versatile. I guess all those years of Team Fortress 2 finally paid some dividends for your boy. But yeah, that, and I also got to stream Cooking Simulator, which was a lot better on PC. I had a lot of fun with that. It was getting crazy there at the end. We were trying to find ways to like burn down the kitchen and like intentionally serve like the wrong food. Like someone ordered a salmon steak. And I took like a raw salmon and put it in a blender with like some chives and, some butter and mixed it up real nice, shoved that in the microwave for 2 minutes. I think we still got like 1 star, He's not, I guess he wasn't dead, at least when he left the restaurant. And I'll check back in 24 hours. It's so crazy. Yeah.
Here's Nick. Today I've prepared for you salmon tartare
Gazpacho.
blended with chives. I hope it's to your liking. Mwah, bon appetit.
It may or may not be at a safe temperature to consume. Good luck. Wish you all the best. Oh man. But yeah, that's been fun, and we're gonna be. I'm gonna be streaming more with Nintendo Switch games and a lot of other things we have on the way there with the new PC. So stay tuned for that. But gentlemen, we have got some. What's that?
No, I said that sounds like a winning combo, right, Nick?
It is a winning combo, and I'll tell you, we've got another winning combo in the wings right here, Brad. Because as always, the QTB podcast and the QTB network is proudly sponsored by Winner. Now, I got to tell you, Token, okay, is Winner's lovable mascot, and J.R.R. Tolkien is a lovable author. Coincidence? I think not. It is time to ring in the release of The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, with the Lord of the Rings collection on Winner. Now listen, the Winner app offers the best online claw machines in the world, with tons of ways to reward you for playing mobile games. When you download the app, find the star, tap collections to embark on this epic quest. If you win all 6 Lord of the Rings themed prizes on this list, like the Lord of the Sweets cookbook, you will get a Lord of the Rings hardcover box set for free. What do you think about that, Brad?
Nick, I think they're going to rename Mordor to Scoremore when Winner is done with them. What do you think?
Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, I'll tell you, Brad, make any purchase and shipping is free for life. Token packages are as low as $3.99. Download the app, hit play for free, no registration needed.
And as Gandalf would say, you shall not lose, because you play until you get your first win for free. That's the beauty of it.
There we go.
Right, Nick?
I nailed that handoff. Yeah, thanks, Brad. The link to download the app is in the description. Visit pay.app.winnerwinner.com. Use promo code DALE to get a sweet deal with 30% bonus tokens on your next purchase. Thanks as always to our sponsor, Winner. Bruno there, as always, providing fantastic background dancing with our resident mascot Token with the Winner app. Love to see it. Gents, we have got a doozy to get into. Those of the people that know our origins as Quit the Build know that we go back to being a Halo clan long before we were a gaming news podcast and a network now. But I mean, so anytime that Halo story comes up, we're kind of on it, and we definitely rode that initial launch high of, when they surprise released the multiplayer component, and it was that the honeymoon phase was in full effect for a little while, but man, the problems began to show themselves very quickly. And now this article from Yahoo talking about how Halo Infinite will not get a split screen campaign co-op mode after fans literally being promised that was what they were going to get, after the backlash of Halo 5. I think this story speaks for itself, because, Bruno, you think about what Halo is synonymous with, especially the fan base that has been loyal to Halo all these years, and that is the co-op components, and especially the local co-op components. You think of all the Halo LAN parties and local co-op sessions back in the day, and so many parents now have had that grew up with Halo now have kids at an age where they want to get them into Halo. It's crazy to think, but that's where we're at now. And, we're seeing 343 continue to walk back promises just for the sake of basically making the live service survive. And that's only one part of the bad news. But before we get into the rest, I mean, what was your initial take, Bruno, when you read this? Were you surprised by the announcement?
A little. I think I was a little surprised, mainly because they were so adamant about, pledging. That was the word that Bonnie Ross used, that she pledged that Halo from here on out would be couch co-op and would have that ability. And then to go back and all the things that have been said about Halo Infinite leading up to its release have essentially gone back. They've essentially gone back on that and changed their attitude. I think about the fact that, when they were initially releasing it, they said, we're not interested in a battle royale. And now there's rumors floating around that another studio has been hired to develop that mode and develop that game for the Halo universe. And so to me, it seems it's just very disappointing. It's very disappointing because this entire time their whole focus has been, well, we're going to make this a live service. It's going to be a free game. Remember when, Halo Infinite first was making the rounds and rumors, we knew there was going to be a live service like this, but we hadn't even seen any gameplay yet. So it goes to show that they know how they want to monetize the game, but they don't know how to get there. They don't know how to fit it into a Halo universe. They don't know how to be a live service right now, because they're not, trickling in 2 maps every 6 months is not progress, right, Brad?
Well, no. Season 2 will go until November, which will be a 10-month season, and that is incredibly long with the lack of, I would say, like you said, Bruno, service type of platform they're aiming for, and you're just not getting anything. Yeah. Like, I can't believe you're gonna have a 10-month season. There be no, nothing, there's nothing to whet your palate. Right?
It's going until March of next year. That's when the next season will be, March of next year.
Wow.
It's wild.
Here's the thing. I would not be surprised if they reverse track and said, you know what? We're not going to have previous seasons be available whenever you want. It's just going to be moving forward. If you miss that stuff, you miss that stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if they went back on that too. At this point, I can't honestly say that I think they have our best interest at heart. I think they are trying to stay afloat and keep an IP that was supposed to be the launch of the Xbox Series X and the title game for this generation be an absolute failure. And as much as I love Microsoft, Xbox, and Halo, I hate to say that the execution of this game was piss poor and it was a downright failure, especially considering they have the capability to make it great. Like, all of the foundation is there, right? What do you got, Brad?
But Bruno, you can't deny head of creative Joseph Staten's latest comment, right? that they had to make a call in order to shift their resources to other priorities, including experiences we're not quite ready to talk about yet.
What does that mean? What does that mean? And
Exactly.
what does that have? It means nothing. It means nothing to me. Experiences we're not quite ready to talk about, which is obviously, the hopeful in me is saying, well, maybe it's a battle royale mode, right? And for those of you haters out there that's saying, no, Halo doesn't need a battle royale, you're wrong. You're just flat out wrong, because we had the opportunity to have a non-battle royale. It's currently out. It's called Halo Infinite, and it sucks. Okay? So let's get that out of the way, right? Like, the idea of, a battle royale would make it better. I think it would. I think it honestly would have made it better. And I think the future things that they're working on is a transfer of materials and base files so that this other company can have something to build upon, within the same universe. Why create an open world? Okay. Why create a game mode that has a closing in storm and then refuse to marry the two into a battle royale game? The simple answer is they can't. They don't have the manpower, because right now they don't even have the manpower to finish a couch co-op game. They don't even have the ability to finish regular co-op, online co-op for us, right, without there being some boundaries behind it. So obviously, and it goes back to one of the things that was said, before all this, back in September of last year, when they had said things like, we've been waiting to do this for 20 years. We finally have the technology to do what we've been wanting to do for 20 years. And to me, that was a huge red flag, because it says, despite all of the changes that have happened in gaming, I still have this idea from 20 years ago that needs to be executed. That means you haven't come up with a better idea in 20 years? Really? Like, it's just, there's no other word for it than disappointing.
My disappointment is immeasurable.
My day is ruined.
My day is ruined.
Yep. And my
You know
day
what?
is
You know
ruined.
it's rivaling now to be one of Microsoft. So I guess 343s, but under the Microsoft Xbox, umbrella, like the Zune. Anybody remember the Zune?
Oh,
no, because it sucked. and now Halo
did you have
Infinite
a
is
Zune?
rising up in the ranks
I
to
did not
counter
have
the
a
Zune.
Let me tell you what I had. I went full
geez.
budget mode. My parents were not going to buy me any kind of high-end MP3 player. I had a JMP3, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you
I
how
remember
many
that bad
megabytes.
boy.
My JMP3 came stocked with 16 megabytes of
I was
memory,
going to say
boys.
10. Nice.
I mean, so
Man,
you want
so
to?
what,
We're
did you
talking
play,
about
like, 4 songs?
one Led Zeppelin song. Your boy had on there. It was more like 390s like techno tracks. But it's that's
Where
what
do you
I
think,
had.
Nick? Though, I mean, Bruno's just giving us his TED talk on the topic. I mean, what do you want to give us your Spark notes? Kind of summarizing on a couple key points. How you feel over there?
Yeah, it's very frustrating, especially when you look at the fact that people before the split screen co-op was ever even, they were talking about it. We didn't have like an actual release date. People figured out how to glitch into it in the game. There was a way to do it where your partner wouldn't have a HUD, but the game was essentially functional online. Not the local split screen co-op, but people are already putting out mods that let you play split screen co-op. So it's like, what savings are you possibly getting if you spent all this time on the framework for it and you just need that final push to get it over the edge? Besides sheer incompetence, I want to remind you that 343 Industries has a workforce of, I want to say, 300 plus people. This is not a small company we're dealing with, guys. And this is one of the things where you have to look at the bureaucracy of the structure of some of these gaming studios, where if you're telling me that a studio of just a couple guys can make a masterpiece like Valheim, right? Rough around the edges, but masterpiece nonetheless. And then you're telling me that these big companies can't get their basic act together to put out a functional game and want to try and sell a 10-month season to you in a live service game as something that's acceptable, when the only things you're unlocking in the battle pass are minor variations on armor, which you have to unlock on both sides of the armor with 2 different levels of the battle pass, by the way. You know, just so many promises have been broken. And I go back to what I was saying before, where in Halo 5, the head of 343 had been saying, oh, we learned our lesson about Halo Infinite. There was a quote from her saying, oh yeah, we're, you know, all future Halo games are going to have the local split screen. And there's just so many places where you can immediately call them out on the BS that it's a big problem, a lot of red flags. And I think there's just a massive structural issue with 343 right now, where if I was Microsoft, if I were Phil Spencer especially, you know, I think there needs to be some very difficult conversations that need to be had with not necessarily the people that are working hard to make Halo what it should be, but the people at the top that seem to be causing a lot of hurdles, a lot of roadblocks to just basic competence in a studio this large. The problem now is the studio is toxic. I've heard stories about this where they have all these openings. Nobody wants 343 on their resume,
that's what I'm saying.
Of how well it pays. Yeah,
exactly. So here's the thing, right? That's what we hear in the comment section, right? If you look in the comment section, you hear nothing but, well, you know, 343 is hiring. If you want to make the game better, then apply and go out there and make the game better. That'd be great if it weren't for a piss poor managed company. Who wants to work in a train wreck, right? Like, this is a burning ship. Who wants to volunteer for that, right? Like, you know, no one does. No one wants to go in to regardless of how much they love a game, want to go into a place that is struggling and like Nick said, toxic. Well, how is that enticing people to come into the game sphere, right? Because if I'm coming in there, I'm going to come in with my new ideas, right? I'm going to come in and say, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to do that. And I'm going to be
but it's not that simple.
Exactly. That's what I'm going to be met with. That's exactly what I'm going to be met with. Whatever Brad's about to say. Because you know that's how executives are. It's the truth. They're going to say, yeah, but well, no, yeah, but well, yeah, but well. And then guess
the bureaucracy
what? It's bull.
The bureaucracy at AAA developers. It's too many hands in the pot. And what's happening is that you're getting business people meddling in creative development and screwing with what is to be done because they have dividends and stakeholders to validate and provide money to, that at the end of the day are now affecting creative and affecting the people, the really creative geniuses that develop these games are leaving because they've lost their autonomy to have fluidity over development. Yep. And now you're running into the thing is the developers they're hiring are fresh out of college or want to get something on the resume, get a AAA developer on the resume, but their skills are diluted or they have lack of experience compared to the more seasoned and veteran folks who have said, no, I'm leaving because this is not where I want to be. The culture is not what I want. I'm going to go work for somewhere where I can have autonomy to develop a game that I want to create that isn't being limited, watered down, influenced, meddled with by management that has certain, that has their own agenda to meet for their stakeholders, right? Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what's going on. That's what could be perceived going on. And that's why you're seeing these things we're not going to reveal yet because the management doesn't want to reveal that for another 6 months for whatever reason, right? Yeah. Like they have a date on the calendar, we're going to reveal X, and that's not now. So you have to basically tread water and manage the media while we wait till date X. And that's what's going on right now.
Well, I think Fluffy Bunny said it best in the chat. He said the best ideas they're right here on this podcast.
That's right. Just tune in. Come on, man.
Talking about.
We'll fix your game.
Seriously.
We'll do it.
No, but it's really that's the point, right? Like that's the point. If we're having a conversation between the three of us and coming up with better ideas on how to fix this, obviously there's some management in the way that's saying, no, that's not right. And somewhere somebody is lying to somebody else. I've worked in the corporate sector enough to know when the ship's going down, you got to lie to the managers and say, no, everything's great. We're doing fine down here. You got to
look at this chart. You see this chart? Yeah. See, water levels are going up. It's what's the problem?
I don't understand.
morale's
Everyone
going
wants
down.
to get their paycheck at the end of the day.
Yeah. That's it.
Wait, didn't you see the newest thing? It's called quiet quitting. It's where you basically just do enough to get by when you hate your job.
We've been
Right.
doing
And you
that
don't
for years. That's not a new trend.
Gen X had that figured out a long time ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't act like Gen Z figured something out on TikTok
Right.
for once. We
Yeah.
know. We've been doing it for you. You don't talk about quiet quitting. It's like Fight Club, okay? If everybody knew that, then what the hell are we gonna do? Like, they're
That's
gonna figure it out. So you're right, Brad. You got to be careful
Thank you.
with that. I don't think that's the case, though, right? Like, I think that there's more to
But
it
no,
out
but
there.
but when there's a culture that's being filled with toxicity or like being lied to, and there's misinformation, or you're being told only half the piece or a quarter of the piece, then at some point that builds resentment within your workforce. And when your developers aren't buying into your vision or what they think is the collective goal, then the product you're going to get on the screen is going to be impacted, right? And I'm not saying that what I played in Halo Infinite hasn't been clean. It's been a beautiful game to play, but it just kind of seems like a 2D picture. You look at a picture on the wall and you're like, man, that's beautiful from afar. But as you get closer and closer, you look at it, you're like, wow, I thought this more looked like 3D, but it's just kind of a 2D painting that seems kind of unexciting when you get close to it, right? You know, that's the best analogy I can think of. Is from a distance it looks great, and as you get closer and it's under the microscope, it's not what you thought it was.
Good from far, but far from good, right? You know, that's the old adage.
Hey,
good
there
from
you go.
far, but
There you
far
go.
from good. Now, I think this is the really interesting thing. Now, Fluffy Bunny in the chat, he said, is Microsoft hoping to let Halo die so they can move on to new IPs? It really does feel like Microsoft has sort of abandoned the Halo to kind of like figure it out for yourself. Part of me feels that way, but the other part of me feels like somebody at Microsoft is planting a wedge and putting up a roadblock for these developers to really do something. I'm trying to give the devs a benefit of the doubt. Nick, what do you think? Do you think that they're just trying to move past Halo Infinite at this point, or is it too big to let go?
No, the problem is just that even big studios these days can't necessarily, size and reputation and attachment to a big IP just doesn't equate to success anymore in today's AAA gaming market. I don't. There's no reason to take a massive IP like that for Microsoft and say, no, we're gonna scupper the ship. Like, you look at the numbers on the Halo TV series for Paramount, right? And like it did very well. I think there was an article that came out that said like they're looking at the future of Halo and they want to continue to flesh that out as its own thing in a TV world. So I mean, the universe
Flush it
wants
down
to
the
expand.
toilet.
Well, yeah, nice. That's a good one. At the rate they're going, right? I mean, at the same time, you see the direction that the TV show went in, which was just, went off in its very, very unique direction, to say the least.
My guess, my
Yeah.
Microsoft does not less than 343. That's my guess. Did anyone get that? Come on, chat. Come on, pop.
The joke. Sorry.
Less than 3 is a heart. Come on, Microsoft doesn't less than 343. Oh, come on, guys, pick it up. Doesn't love 343.
We got math jokes
Wow.
here. That's good for you, man.
Pew.
Emotional damage.
Mathematical damage. Wow. All right. On that note, wow. That was such a good line. It cut his camera out. No, but I mean, there's just a lot to be concerned about. But I think at the end of the day, it's just going to be a matter of time. And if another studio can come in and rectify what's been going on with this studio. But in the meantime, I'll tell you, who is getting it right every time, and that is our fans over on Patreon. Thank you all so much for your support. We got expenses, we got bills to pay, and you guys are helping keep the lights on here at the QTB Network. Thank you so much to our Patreon and Fuego supporters like Epic Capture Productions, Matt.Bat, and Alexa, and our QTB Plus supporters, Nick, the Dudist Monk, Indie Gamiacs, Alan Abadessa, Mr. Grove Games, the Intergalactic Pinecone, and Fluffy Bunny and Kawaii Potato for as little as $2 per month. you can get access to bonus content like the QTB Nostalgia Vault, and of course, bonus exclusive merch you can only get when you are on our Patreon. So again, thank you as always to our Patreon supporters for making the world go round. You are the best. We got great content for you. Just dropped an episode about arcade games. We're gonna have part 2 of that coming up very soon. I think we just sent out some posters, we sent out some stickers, you know, you got the super stickers on YouTube live chat, but you get the actual super sticker when you're a Patreon supporter for 3 months or more. How about that?
How about that?
Yeah.
And we got a new Brad in the stream. A new
Brad
Brad
number 2
has entered the chat, apparently.
And I can't get rid of Brad number 1, so it's just how it is now.
It's just how it is. That's what we got.
Blame the heat, people. I just cut my power and it popped back on. So
yeah,
he's here.
He's here. Okay. Yeah, so we will kind of keep things moving really into our next story, and that is from, Epic Capture got us a Patreon gift. Nice. We'll talk later. Cyberpunk 2077. Okay, so CD Projekt Red, guys, let's talk about this for a hot minute. We have been kind of putting Cyberpunk on the back burner because there really hasn't been a lot of news for like the last 6 months plus. They've been over time kind of doing what we knew they would do, which is get caught up on the game, actually make it in a playable state, remove the bugs, optimize it for next-gen consoles, and that's kind of where we're at. So we got a new Night City Wire, which is their like live stream presentations to give new information, and in there, this story is coming from IGN talking about how Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty is the first expansion and will not be on last-gen consoles. There's a couple of kind of news stories in here that were pretty interesting, to say the least. The first of which was that they announced that they were going to be putting out patch 1.6 Edge Runners, and that's going to coincide with the new anime series, not anime, but animated series that's going to be coming out on Netflix. The world of Cyberpunk is kind of getting fleshed out there with this new series. And we're also getting a new expansion. This was announced for 2023. It's called Phantom, Phantom Liberty. Yeah, there it is, Phantom Liberty. Yeah, whoa. And this is looking pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. Not a whole lot to see here, but it looks like there's a whole new world that's being built out, a zone, this new United States of America that's being founded, and of course the return of Johnny Silverhand, who is going to be once again reprised by the one and only Mr. Breathtaking himself, Keanu Reeves. I mean, this is really exciting stuff. Bruno, do you think? I mean, the Cyberpunk really hasn't been in the limelight for a while now, and I think that the reputational damage for CD Projekt Red, despite the success of other IPs like The Witcher, I think that damage has kind of already been done. But it seems like they're optimistic, and to even have Keanu Reeves show up for this presentation, I think is a pretty good sign that they're back on track. I mean, what's your read on where this game is as of right now?
Yeah, that was my biggest question. Like, the fact that they had Keanu Reeves kind of come back and participate again and have more content within the game, it's obviously new content that hasn't been put out before, or they didn't record before, because they've got, the new promos and stuff with him in it. And I think that is what you want to see from a studio. That's what we want to see from Halo Infinite. When we see something like a roadmap that comes out and it's bare bones, it doesn't make us feel any better about the content that's being released. It just makes us feel as if we're missing something. So when a company kind of takes a step back and says, "You're right, we're gonna fix this," and then comes out with some new stuff, especially single player content, that's really hard to come by these days. A lot of times people just move past it, and we'll do the fixes. But I would say for me, obviously, this is something that piques my interest again. I'm ready to maybe, take the dive into Cyberpunk. I was so put off by the reviews before that I kind of had that opinion of, well, I'll wait a year. Well, it's been about a year, right? If not a little bit more, and or a little less. I can't remember when it came out, but obviously there have been some changes to the mix, and that's something that is worth praising, because very few times has that come to us in the past. I think about No Man's Sky, and how terrible of a launch that was, and just where the game is now is exactly what they promised way back then.
Yeah.
They had to go back and essentially build from the ground up, but it works. Like, it's there. It's a complete experience. And it's what they initially set out to do. I think Cyberpunk is having that redemption song as well. And like I said, I want to see that from more companies, right? I want to see that for Halo Infinite. Nothing is more disappointing than having a great idea go by the wayside because of poor management or execution. Thinking about something like Anthem, that was just like, oh man, like guys in mech suits flying around an open world.
Yeah.
What part of that doesn't sound cool? And yet you delivered a game that took the coolest idea and, made it campy, made it,
Right.
Not worth it. So I'm excited for it. Think it's something I'm going to pick up. Brad, is this something that, would entice you, this new drop? What do you think about it in terms of the space and current state that Cyberpunk is in?
I think they're really smart. I think what I've seen when reading the article, Nick, that you shared, is that they're also dropping new DLC today, right? And Bruno, you talk about kind of having a vision, having a story, right? The DLC that's launching today is related to the new Netflix anime series that's coming out, I think, in a week or two.
Yeah.
Right. So you talk about how they're connecting. They have a roadmap and they're launching. Granted, maybe their start at the gate was a false start or a bad start, right? But you're seeing now as they get through the first lap, you can see their trajectory, you can see their roadmap, you can see what they're looking to do, and I think it's a really interesting opportunity over the net, especially if other games are faulting, which we have clearly admitted on this podcast. It's an opportunity to pick it up, and I think you can get it pretty cheap now and see what Cyberpunk 2077 is all about. So,
Yeah.
I could see myself picking it up during the winter here, and when I got a little bit more time to game and checking something else out that I haven't played yet.
Yeah.
It's worth it, man. I mean, the game is in a good state now, especially on Series X. Even on some PCs, like you got to really have a cutting edge PC to just play it. But Series X, it runs well. And the thing of it is, man, is that I'm lucky, and I've talked about before about my experience with the game. I'm lucky because when the game came out on Stadia, one of the problems of Stadia is that very few AAA games come to that platform anymore. And Cyberpunk was really one of the last big like blockbuster releases that was what was there day one. Which is still supported, by the way. The expansion Stadia will get that. And so I was there mainly because, it was a no-brainer. They were offering an extra, Premier Edition controller, webcam, all that good stuff when you pre-ordered the game. So I'm like, well, of course I'm going to hop in and pick this up. I was already going to buy it anyway, and played it day one, got through the campaign and I got about a week or two. And had a blast. I really enjoyed it. It was a flawed game, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But the story by itself, Keanu Reeves and all of the voice actors and the story writers for CD Projekt Red should be commended, because it is a great story with great decision making that you make that does impact the choices and the outcomes. There are some wildly different outcomes at the end of that game depending on how you choose to play it. And what I'm really excited about is the fact that the animated series will have a storyline that is written by CD Projekt Red. That's a very smart move, okay? Because, you see the narratives that they've made with The Witcher. It's a critically acclaimed game for Witcher 3 for a very good reason, and the story is a big part of that. So, bring in what works, right, and continue to flesh it out. Bruno, you had mentioned Anthem. You'd mentioned, we talked about Halo Infinite and the failure of these live services, right, on different levels. Well, I think the smart move that CD Projekt Red made was canning the online co-op. That was going to be a feature they were going to have at one point, and they were saying, "Listen, guys, it's a hot mess." Like they just said, full stop. Like it's not going to be in a state where we're going to be able to get it to you. We're going to go ahead and pull that feature. And so because they were able to just dial it into a single player experience from start to finish with no online really anything, I think that kind of salvaged what was left and allowed CD Projekt Red to bring out the best aspects of their company and use the last couple of years to really get it together. So I'm very excited for this news story. I've said this before, but I rarely play single player games more than once, if at all, all the way through from start to finish. I'm on my third playthrough of Cyberpunk 2077. That's how much I love the game. And so that
Nick,
speaks volumes.
We know you don't squat up with randos, so we know you're gonna play.
Not these days. Not these days. Rockefeller told him. That's right. Oh man, but yeah, it's just good to see more content from him, and a great segue, Brad, because if you want to get more amazing content from all of us here at Quit the Build, there's so many great ways to do it. Of course, our tried and true QTB jingles, where they got me out there on the internet just singing about it all, my friends, and you can get there and just loop it. I talk about Dino Chicken Nuggets. That's a thing now. Lori Berkner, like the children's musician, okay? She commented on it and said, yeah, it's a bop, all right? No big deal, okay?
No
she only made the We Are the Dinosaurs, the Goldfish song. I know these hits, all right? Right up there with Raffi. It's Lori Berkner approved.
We need to get the Billboard to start their gaming top 100 hits, and Nick, you'd have multiple in the top 10. Let me tell you.
There's Chug Jug. Yeah, there's Chug Jug. There's Pac-Man Fever, and then it's all QTB all the way down. That's it.
Right there.
I love it. Oh man, well, stop on by our website, everybody. Quitthebuild.com. Make sure to check out our blog. We got more great articles on the way, and articles that have already been published, and just a whole bevy of gaming topics, entertainment topics there for you. Also, make sure to check out our QTB network. We've got 1 Hour, 1 Decision. We've got the Double DQ Wrestling Podcast and so much more, and maybe even some announcements on the way. Stay tuned for that on socials. And if you want to stay in touch with us... Oh, yeah.
I was going to say, quick shout out to the Double DQ Podcast. I know they've been working hard. There was a couple big pay-per-views out in the wrestling world for those wrestling fans. So I know the last couple episodes should be good ones. They had their predictions. They have their follow-up to their reactions to the shows. Woo! So if you're a wrestling fan, go check it out. That's a great listen.
It is. Yeah, big time. And man, those they have fun. Yeah. CR and Biggs, they're a good duo. Straight man and funny man, just yucking it up there. So yeah, and of course, head over to our community page. It's going to help you to link up with our social media. We're talking Discord. We're talking about Twitter. We're talking about Instagram. Of course, TikTok is where a lot of the action is, and right here on YouTube as well, or wherever you might be hearing or watching this podcast. Good times. Well, I think that's about all we got for the people. So Bruno, show them how we take them out.
Oh yeah, we're keeping it chill. This is for all you OGs out there waiting for GoldenEye 007 to come on Xbox Live, because we know it's eventually gonna happen. So until then, for Nick and Brad, I'm Bruno.
For Bruno and Brad, I'm Nick.
For Brad 1, Brad 2, Brad 3, Nick and Bruno, I'm Brad.
Peace out. What it do?
Nice.
Quit the Build.